So I get asked quite often, what kind of key should I buy? And if you don't want to watch this video and see kind of a demonstration of the different keys that I have, I would say go buy yourself a bencher. You can probably get one used off of qth.com, which is a great resource for used equipment. But to dig a little bit deeper into what I mean and what kind of key you could and should get, I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a demonstration of what this whole iambic thing is, as well as why I don't have any straight keys. So yeah, for sure, I don't have any straight keys. I know that's a huge bummer, but I don't do anything with straight key sending. I never got interested into it. But if you do get interested in, like nostalgic CW and maybe slower speed CW, getting a straight key is certainly really a cool desk ornament for sure. And second, it's really fun to play with and to send code. When I say desk ornament, I mean that in the nicest and best way, because I have a lot of desk ornaments that are Morse code keys, or paddles, keys, paddles, whatever you want to call them. I think I've got a little bit of a problem. I'm too much of a collector, and I love collecting unique CW keys. Of course, I have a couple of them that aren't necessarily unique, and I want to give you a little bit of a demo right now. So I have, and this is part of my collection. I've got a number of CW keys. They're all iambic with two paddles. I don't have any that are called swipers, which is a single paddle which you go back and forth with. It's just the style and interest that I personally have. They do have the swiper style, and some people really enjoy that. I like having two paddles, and like I said, you could get a straight key if you wanted to also. It's just one of those things that doesn't necessarily interest me. I like doing more high-speed stuff and some contesting sometimes. But this is the KBX 380. It's made by Tapio in Finland. I have another one of his also, special edition. Nothing special about this than any other key other than it just looks cool. How he has some of this architected. The feel is nice, and I really like the colors. I used to use this in my vehicle as my CW key of choice, and I did that after I tried this in my vehicle. I wanted buying this, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to get a pretty decent iambic CW key, I'd get a bencher just like this one. You can probably get one for 90 bucks off of qth.com, and or maybe even eBay, or some of the Facebook groups that are out there. You basically get what you pay for. If you go maybe a little bit lower in line, like getting something like this ham key HQ1, you could probably get one of these for 20 bucks, 30 bucks, maybe even 40 if it's in great condition. I got this from my Uncle Hudley many years ago, so I can't get rid of it, and I like it just because of that and for nostalgic reasons. I've used this many times in a pinch and in different ways that, when I had a radio upstairs and the radio downstairs, I didn't want to lug something upstairs or downstairs. This is a lightweight key, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about, is the fact that most really high quality CW keys are pretty heavyweight. If you lift up this bencher, for example, I mean, it's certainly maybe a couple of pounds. Same thing with this one. I would say all of these are probably a couple of pounds heavy. This is my prized Bengali. This is probably the heaviest one. It has one of the thickest bases. I think that's like 1.5 inches roughly thick of full steel. And I got this from my Uncle Al, who is also a CW key collector. The Bengali CW key is, in some circles rendered as the Ferrari. Well, I mean, it is the Ferrari of CW keys. They make, iambic, they make swipers, they make also the straight keys. So if you want a Bengali key, this is the Ferrari of CW keys. They cost about as much as a Ferrari also. Well, not, I'm just kidding. They're not cheap. They're not cheap. And you can go on the website to see what kind of prices that they get. They're usually at Dayton Hamvention, and it's kind of cool to meet with those folks. And I want to buy in a Bengali key at Dayton Hamvention in 2022 this year. And it's pretty awesome. I don't have that in this video though. I have, this is a Magna keyer. Just kind of a pretty rugged key. I was going to use this for like some POTA stuff. Some of my favorite keys are Russian made. This is a Russian made key right here. This is RA1 AOM makes these keys. These are like very high end keys. I'm not sure if you can kind of see where the components touch each other here to make contact so that the key happens. And I know you can't really see it in there, but this piece right in here, it's got a little slit in it, and it has some give. So when you're mashing these keys together and being pretty aggressive, it's got somewhat of a soft touch to it. Those are my RA1 AOM keys. I also have another one over here, RA1 AOM, and he sells these on the internet. The cool thing about these, like I said, is the soft touch to it. Whereas here's a Ukrainian key, which it definitely has a abrupt touch to it. But this is pretty typical of all CW keys. Even the Bengali also has that as well. There's no like cushion, but I think the fact that those are silver plated contacts or something like that, they create for a really nice experience. And the fact that this is so nicely machined, you can get the tolerances really tight there. Here, let me take out this dust cover. Of course it has a dust cover. You can get the tolerances really tight there so that this can have virtually almost no movement, and it's just basically a very small touch gets you to be able to do some of the code. So I've got these two hooked up, and yeah, they're both really nice. The thing I wanted to talk about with Iambic is when you are first starting out playing with your CW key and getting your skills together, the general way of sending is understanding that when you squeeze both of these together, as long as you hold them together, it's going to alternate dots and dashes. So it'll alternate dots and dashes until you let go. And it'll also keep sending dashes or dots, or even. So with that in mind, you can imagine that if you wanted to send K, you can go like this, right? See how I'm holding the right paddle down and just tapping the left one? It's kind of, you have to kind of get a little bit of rhythm, but, and then you can do an R also. You can do a C, right? I'm touching this one slightly first before that one because this is the dash. Some people do this too, especially the swiper folks. But that's a good technique for iambic sending. So that would be a C. You can go, that would be like a 1, and that'd be a question mark. Notice how I have to go back and forth because it's not like a C, which is, I have to go. So that's kind of how that works. So if you want to do an F, sometimes you'll maybe hold this down a little too long and it'll go, whoops. So you want to make sure that you come off of that quickly so you make a proper F. You get a little bit better, and see how my finger is a little bit flopping around there. You'll probably get better and better, and you go something like that. But yeah, that's the these are the CW key. This is a Michael March key. This is one of my favorite keys also. Very close tolerances. He's a craftsman. I met him at Dayton Hamvention 2022 also. And then, like I said, the bencher keys. This was actually my first CW key that I ever bought. I figured might as well go big or go home, right? So I wound up buying this. I think it was like $170 back in 1994 or something like that. All chrome, and I think it's the BY2 or something like that. And never went back. Did many contacts, tons of contests with that key. It's a fantastic key. The other thing I wanted to note is, if you're going to be going, maybe, whether it be on the road, maybe SOTA, maybe even POTA, so Summits on the Air, Parks on the Air, you might want to get something like this. This is super small, and it's also super light. You know, there's a little bit of weight to it, but it has magnets on the bottom so that you can put it on a magnetic base, or even on the top of a radio. Like, for example, here's my FT817. You can put it right on the top of there, and that's where I've had it so many times doing POTA or any SOTA work. So another way you can get into CW. These things are probably only like $50. You can even get them on Amazon. You could probably get them cheaper on AliExpress if you wanted to, but these are pretty nice. But like I said, it's all what you want to do. If you really want to do some straight key stuff, you're interested in slower speed CW, definitely buy a straight key. There are tons of them out there. There are some really cool ones. There's some really cheap ones. You can have a lot of fun doing straight key stuff. I usually caution people about getting a straight key right away, only because it can be frustrating and it takes a lot of effort. And if you're starting to learn Morse code, the least frustration and the least effort possible is kind of what I go for. So I look more for the Iambic CW paddle as maybe a starter. And then, I mean, believe it or not, I almost kind of think that a straight key is a little bit more advanced. I mean, your timing, I would probably be terrible sending with a straight key because it takes practice, effort, and, you need to have some rhythm in order to do it. But remember, sending is the other half of doing CW and knowing Morse code. You have to send as well as receive. So receiving is probably most important. Sending is the second part of the importance quotient, only because you need to know your letters, and to be able to receive them spontaneously without knowing what's coming at you is definitely a skill. Typically when you're sending, you know what you're going to send, and you know what the letters are, what the dits and the das sound like. So it's a little bit easier. And I know folks that, just love to send their call sign, and you should too. You should know and learn how to send your call sign at high rates of speed, because, it's just fun. Just crank this up here, and so have fun with it, and practice sending. Open up, something, just type this out. Has this day submitted? Just send anything you can. When you're driving down the street, practice sending the license plate that's in front of you. Anything that you could do. When you're looking at billboards as you're driving down the road, sound out the billboards in CW, doing, just hum it to yourself, or just, discreetly say the dits and the das. So all of that helps, and all of that helps you get to the next level of learning CW.